Hi, for this project, I'll be focused on air pollution and why it causes air pollution and how they cause pollutions. Also, is always it also focus on waste management and particularly air pollutions and how and why it triggers health impact to the community. So the intro of it will be focus on impact, climate change, waste management, and how Taiwanese government address the issues such as air pollution, ozone issues, and myths that create bias within the community that influence public precipitations. Climate change not only alters weather patterns and also increase natural disaster. It is something that we need to pay attention as humans who live in the country and also upon this world. So it also affects the economic outcomes in the long term, as well as the human lifestyle. So climate change impact and solutions. Taiwan is significantly affected by air pollutions, particularly during spring and winter. And this pollutions it can triggers from locally or across the borders, such as from dust and air quality. And this is mainly from mainland China because China's just across the sea from us. So this is the mainly the air pollutions that comes from outside of the country. As for inside the country is mainly from factory, pub, transportation such as motorcycle, cars, etc. And as how this is related to climate change is because climate change not only affects the temperature rise but also affects temperature drops. So when temperature drops, it affects the airflow. When airflow is not flowing enough, the pollution will not go away. So during spring and winter time, this is when air wouldn't flow and temperature drops low. So in Taiwan, it will be deeply affected by PM 2.5. So as from the study, the number of polluted days for climate will be continue for 30 days. And when during autumn and winter time and springtime, under 2 degrees Celsius and 4 degrees Celsius of global warming scenarios, PM 2.5 pollution will be worse and increase the number of polluted days by 3 to 6 days continuous. And this is especially serious in the southern Taiwan. And so the how governments solve the problem, it's the pollution issues and how climate change affect the pollutions will be included in the weather forecast. So this will be explained it to the public how serious PM 2.5 will affect human health and how people should avoid it, such as wear mask and avoid any unnecessary outdoor activities on days which with poor air qualities, and also promoting public transportation to lower the sources from inside the country that create air pollution that cause the rise in PM 2.5. And as for globally, by setting up different regulations and join different groups to focus on the issue will be ideal to cover those PM 2.5 issues and solve the air pollution issue nationally as well as inside the country. So as I just mentioned, air pollution and its effect. Air pollution will deeply affect a human being's health. this is in Taiwan, the part that cause and the health that most affected by air pollution is in the central Taiwan, with the population of 4.4 million people has health issues with and caused by air pollutions. The common health issues included respiratory illness such as lung cancer, COPD, asthma, and pneumonia. And by this, the health sources sometimes is not enough to address those issues. So these will be transferred to other part of Taiwan and cause infections to other people and cause the outcomes such as COVID-19. So it is something that necessary to be addressed, and the air pollution will also cause cancer. So in Taiwan, the to address air pollution and the cancer issue, it sometimes need to raise the burden, and also as well as the medication to cover the issue. But people didn't realize how serious it is. So it is important to address the issue and why and how those happens. So lower the amount of air pollution is something Taiwanese government will have to pay attention in the long term, as well as pay attention and monitoring the health outcome, particularly in Zhanghua, which is the middle part of Taiwan, because it has the highest incidence of lung cancer and low emission compared to urban and suburban zones. So for here, it is the data that present urban, suburban, rural area, and the raise of the case of the what government record of the data that from local hospitals, and this is the incidence of it. So you can see from rural area is higher than urban and suburban area. This is pneumonia actually. And as for lung cancer, it is also way more than urban area, because in urban area people has ways to address air pollution, ways to avoid air pollution, whereas in rural area, which is Zhanghua, and people has to do work outside, so it is not easy for them to avoid air pollutions and cause health issues to them. So the next part will be waste management and sustainabilities. The way how Taiwanese government, especially the north part of the Taiwan, it actually come up with policies to address the waste issue. So what they did is to encourage people to participate in it. They start with schools and department stores and company to first start with recycle, so they can pass on this knowledge to other people and to pay attention to the importance of recycleness. The reason why Taiwanese government start doing this was because especially on plastic waste, because upon all the Taiwan, only 9% were being recycled, and 12% were being tossed away, and 79% were being released into the environment, such as burning it or on management it. So Taiwanese government pay attention to this and start address the issue, and So it not only reduce the public health risks, but also allow those waste to become recyclable and to become other products. So as I mentioned before, to encourage participant, the government provides stores that develop and use reusable shopping bags, com- converting up to 20% of the volume cost up to 200 200 200 NT. And food waste management is also something that reduce waste, and this can be divided into kitchen waste, recyclable, and general waste before it was being collected. So when those were being collected, it will be processed and become um, animal food animal food sources. So the material that government encourage us to recycle will be aluminum, glass, metal, paper, and plastic include those. So how these were being collected is from 2 to 3 times per week, and kitchen waste will be 5 times per week, and those will be collected by the Department of Environmental Protection, Taipei City government. And those are necessary because not only reduce the pollution but also reduce waste and maintain the sustainability, because in Taiwan those plastic products will be reused and remake into other products such as blankets and reusable bags and other products that we use in the daily life. So this part will be the climate change maps and ozone protections. The two climate maps that I heard and a lot is number one would be China's mostly responsible for climate change, while greenhouse China is responsible for climate change because people has bias on China has the most factory, and a lot of companies invest their company in China. So they create a lot of pollutions. So those pollution will cause greenhouse gases and make it worse. So people deeply believe that China needs to pay responsible for those. And the second myth that I heard the most will be animal will be adapt to climate change because they need to fit into their lives and fit into different environments. But at the truth is, when climate change becomes serious, it will be hard for them. As for the ozone part, Taiwanese government has joined different legislation to protect the ozone, such as Montreal Petrol Substance and HCFC's components and methanol burning use to pay attention to ozone change. So for the conclusion, I have never realized how climate change can be so serious and connect to PM 2.5 levels. And also people has bias on it only raise temperature and has nothing to do with dropping the temperatures. And also it is important for public to understand this and further to learn the concept of it. And this is the end of it. Thank you.